Hello again from Kuala Lumpur International Airport. Today I'm flying on the Singapore Hopper to Cebu. My journey to Cebu today involves 3 hops. First I'll be flying Singapore Airlines to Singapore, and then I'll be taking another Singapore Airlines flight to Cebu, which has an intermediate stop at Davao.
Okay, so I've been put on an earlier flight to Singapore because my layover in Singapore on the original flight was just about 55 minutes. So this means that I will not have enough time to visit the lounge at KLI. However, I will have enough time to visit the lounge at Singapore. So I'm heading to my gate G6 now. Thankfully, it's in the main terminal, not too far away. So I went to the boarding gate and I saw that our aircraft has not yet arrived from Singapore. So that gives me some time to visit the lounge at KLIA after all.
Singapore Airlines uses the Plaza Premium Lounge at KLIA, and this lounge is located in the main terminal near the G gates. The lounge has 2 separate sections for business class and first class, and Star Alliance Gold members are entitled to use the business class section.
Right, so I made it to the Plaza Premium Lounge here at KLIA. I'm just going to grab some quick coffee and something to eat before I have to head back to the gate. So I'm heading back to the gate now after a quick visit to the Plaza Premium Lounge. I can see that our aircraft has arrived from Singapore, so hopefully this time I should be able to board it.
Taking me to Singapore today is an 8-year-old Boeing 737-800 that previously served with Silk Air before it was merged into Singapore Airlines. The Singapore 737-800s do not have individual PTV screens, and the safety video is shown on drop-down screens.
So we've just taken off from Kuala Lumpur on board SQ103 to Singapore. The flight is not too full, barely about 50% full today. We should be landing into Singapore in another 45 minutes from now.
Okay, let's do a quick seat review. The Singapore Airlines 737-800s have a seat pitch of 30 inches, which is quite tight as you can see. There are no seatback PTV screens and only drop-down LCD screens that you saw earlier. There's also this old-school audio-based entertainment system, although I'm not sure if it still works. This aircraft has not been cleaned properly, and I could see coffee and other stains on the seat backs and on the tray table. SQ offers only hot or cold beverages on this sector, and I asked for a cup of apple juice. After barely 30 minutes of cruise, we started our descent into Singapore.
Singapore, ladies and gentlemen, and to all Singaporeans and residents of Singapore, a warm welcome home.
Hello from Terminal 2 of Singapore's Changi International Airport. I have roughly 2 hours to go before my connecting flight to Cebu, so I'm going to head to the Singapore Airlines Lounge.
The signs to the Singapore Airlines Lounge at Terminal 2 lead you through a maze of paths through the terminal. I finally arrive at the KrisFlyer Gold Lounge after negotiating the Changi T2 maze. The KrisFlyer Gold Lounge caters exclusively to Star Alliance Gold members, whereas business class passengers are entitled to use the Silver Kris Lounge. The lounge is not too large but has a nice warm feel to it. There is a good selection of both alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks, including beer on tap. The food selection is quite okay, with both hot and cold items available along with desserts. My favorite, of course, is this steaming hot dim sum, which was quite fresh and was regularly refilled by the staff. After spending an hour or so at the lounge, it was now time to head to the gate. It was a bit of a walk to gate F36, where my flight to Cebu would be departing from. Taking me to Cebu today is a 1-year-old Boeing 737 MAX 8, Mike Bravo Oscar.
So we've taken off from Singapore on SQ906 to Cebu via Davao. Our flight time to Davao today is roughly going to be about 3.5 hours, and then we're going to be having a ground time of roughly 45 minutes before we take off again for Cebu. Let's do a quick seat review now.
The seat pitch in economy class is 30 inches, which is a bit tight as compared to SQ's wide-body aircraft. There is a tray table that can be folded down and can be adjusted forward or backward as per need. The SQ737 MAX feature 10-inch LCD screens in economy class that are equipped with the signature Kris World in-flight entertainment system. There is a USB charging port and headphone port located below the screen. The IFE system on this aircraft comes with the Panasonic ARC flight map and information system that displays all the necessary information like flight duration, distance, and departure and arrival times. The in-flight maps are detailed and interactive, allowing you to zoom in and out of the route as well as freely explore other parts of the world. The system also has an exterior view of the aircraft, as well as this very cool HUD view that shows you the airspeed, ground speed, heading, altitude, and wind speed. Let's explore the Crisworld IFE system. This is really the gold standard when it comes to in-flight entertainment systems. There's a rich collection of movies, TV shows, music, games, and more. The movie selection is fantastic with the latest Hollywood releases along with movies from various regions in Asia. There's also a collection of Bollywood movies for those interested. For this flight, I decided to watch The Covenant, which turned out to be a good choice. Before that, let's take a look at the earbuds SQ provides on this flight. These are disposable in-ear units that have a very poor sound quality. There's absolutely no bass, and because there's no noise cancellation either, you have to turn the volume really high to be able to hear the content above the noise of the engines. Lunch was served around 45 minutes into the flight. The meal consisted of a fish fillet along with beans in a tomato-based sauce. This was served along with some salad, a bread roll and butter, and a small cup of water. I asked for some white wine and a glass of orange juice to accompany my meal. The meal tasted good and the fish was soft and flavorful. Alright, let's do a quick loo review now. The restroom on this aircraft was pretty standard and was more or less kept clean and tidy. There were no additional amenities available except for hand wash liquid. As I settled down to watch the remainder of the movie, I asked the crew for some more white wine, which was served with a pack of peas and crackers and a small cup of water. Soon we started our descent into Davao. The crew announced that all passengers would need to disembark here and the aircraft would be cleaned and inspected before we take off again. This is actually a triangular route, which means the aircraft does Singapore, Davao, Cebu, and back to Singapore. Singapore-bound passengers would also come on board in Davao.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the seatbelt sign is on.
Hello from Davao International Airport. We are currently at the Davao terminal. All passengers are required to disembark the aircraft while it is cleaned for our next leg to Cebu. We are going to be having a ground halt of about 45 to 50 minutes before we board again. Right, so I'm boarding the Singapore Airlines flight for the next leg to Cebu. It was a short 30-minute layover at Davao, and here I am at the aerobridge.
We push back more or less on time at a 5:15 p.m. local time for our next hop to Cebu. The scheduled flying time for this hop is roughly 1 hour. The aircraft was roughly 3/4 full on this leg from Davao to Cebu, including Singapore-bound passengers from Davao. A cup of apple juice was served, and there is no meal or snack service on this sector. In another 10 minutes or so, we began our descent into Cebu. It was just before 6 p.m. local time and the sun was about to set. We were treated to this gorgeous view out of the window as we lined up on final approach into Cebu Mactan International Airport.
Welcome to Cebu, ladies and gentlemen. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the seatbelt sign is off. Please take care when opening the compartments and remember to take all your belongings with you. It's been our pleasure serving you on this flight. Thank you for flying Singapore Airlines, a member of Star Alliance.
We arrived nearly 15 minutes before our scheduled arrival time at Cebu. This was a good flight with SQ's great in-flight product and service. It was also a good opportunity to experience this triangular route with the same flight number, SQ906, with a domestic hop between Davao and Cebu. Passengers are of course not allowed to travel between these two cities due to cabotage restrictions. Cebu Airport's Terminal 2 is beautiful and is a joy to arrive at. It is huge, brightly lit and easy to navigate as compared to the older Terminal 1. Hope you enjoyed this report on the Singapore Airlines Hopper to Cebu. See you again on my next flight.